Hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we're going to learn about latency-based routing or routing. So latency-based routing allows you to route your traffic based on the lowest network latency for your end user, and that just basically means which region is going to give them the fastest response time. And to use latency-based routing, you create a latency resource record set for the EC2 or Elastic Load Balancer resource in each region that hosts your website. And then when Route 53 receives a query for your site, it selects the latency record set for the region that gives the user the lowest latency. Route 53 then responds with the value associated with that record set. So again, we've got a user. This user's in South Africa, and they're going to make a request to Route 53. And Route 53 is going to look at the different response times. So it's going to figure out that we've got a 54 millisecond response time for EU West 2, whereas the user will get 300 milliseconds response time for AP Asia Pacific Southeast 2. And so what it's going to do is it's essentially going to send the traffic to the EU West 2 because it has a much lower latency than AP Southeast 2. So let's go ahead and see this in action. Okay, so I'm back in my web browser. I can see now that I can't resolve hellocloudgurus2019.com. I actually deleted the A records about an hour ago. I went and had some lunch and I came back and I was refreshing and it was still there. So that is Route 53 in action, or DNS in action. Sometimes it can take quite a long time to propagate. So let's go ahead and create a new record set. In here, I'm going to use my naked domain name or zone apex record. I'm going to paste my IP address in there. That's my first IP address, which is for my Sydney server. And then I'm going to change this to latency-based routing. And in here, it's saying Route 53 responds to queries based on latency that you specify, and this and other record sets have the same name and type. And straight away, it's already detected that the region is AP Southeast 2. And if I type in here, Sydney, that will give me a set ID, and then we can associate it with our health check, and we can go ahead and select our Sydney health check. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create. That has now created the record. Let's go in and do the next one. So this one in here is my Ohio one. I'm going to change this to latency. And again, it has detected that it's US East 2. And I'm going to change this to Ohio. And then I'm going to associate it with a health check and choose the Ohio health check and go ahead and hit create. And then we're going to do one last one. And we're going to go ahead to latency. And I'm going to go in and paste my IP address in here. And then it's detected its island as well. I'm going to call this island. And then associate with health check. I'm going to hit yes. And I'm going to put it in here and go ahead and hit create. So there's my 3 different record sets. If I go over here and hit refresh, and it's actually sending me to Ohio. It's giving me a lower latency in Ohio, even though I'm in London and Ireland is just down the road. So I fired up a VPN client called NordVPN, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to VPN into Australia. So it will appear to Amazon that I'm actually based in Australia. So that is now connecting, and it has now connected. And if I refresh my browser, there we go. It's now directing me to Sydney. If I come back, I could actually try and go over to Ireland. So here's Ireland here. I'm going to go ahead and hit connect. That is now connected. And if I go back over here and hit refresh, I'm now on the Irish web server. And just to try one last thing, I've gone back to the United Kingdom. I'm going to refresh here. And under my VPN, I'm now getting better latency with Ireland. And to test this one last time, we can go back over to the United States and connect in there. And if I hit refresh, I should get the Ohio web server. So it looked like I was just having some intermittent internet issues, and it was probably quicker for me to connect to Ohio than it was for me to connect to Ireland. I'm going to go back over to Route 53, and I'm going to go ahead and delete those record sets. And go ahead and hit confirm. And so onto my exam tips, just remember about latency-based routing. So if you've got your South African user and they're connecting into Route 53, Route 53 is going to look at the latency and it's going to choose the one that's lowest. So it's going to choose this one, which is 54 milliseconds, and direct them to EU West 2. And it is lots of fun to test it using different VPN clients as well. So that is it for this lecture, everyone. In the next lecture, we're going to learn about failover routing policies. So if you've got the time, please join me in the next lecture. Thank you.